Rugby League. I do very little on air of it, viewers. I think the couple that I've seen a couple of early videos will know I'm a great lover of Rugby League, but it's very much a Northwest-based game, and until I get a much greater viewership, I probably won't look at Rugby League because there's only a few on here that it will interest. But I love it. It's a game I've loved since being a kid. I think it's one of the greatest games in the world. It could even be the greatest. It's that good. It's played by men who act as men and don't fall over and roll over for no reason, and they're great at what they do. Very underpaid for what they do. As I say, it's a Northwest-based game. I've never said this to anybody before because I've no need to. I'm from a place called Warrington. That's Warrington in Cheshire. I prefer to say Lancashire because when I was born, Warrington, I used to do my letters, blah, 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 Warrington, Lancashire, England. And then as I got older, we were told we were now Cheshire. I don't like being told what to do, so I prefer Lancashire, but I live in Cheshire. My team is the Wire, the local team. They're called Warrington Wolves. When I was a kid, they were called the Wire. So to me, they still call the Wire. I like tradition. I don't like being told to change. So they're the Wire. They played this weekend at the Magic Weekend in Newcastle there, where all the teams in the league get together over a 2-day period and all play one another. It's been going for a good few years now. It's a great idea. It brings the game of Rugby League to the masses, to more people. It gets us closer to the back page rather than an inside page. It gets us blanket coverage over 2 days with Sky. And as I say, the big thing is hopefully bringing some new people in. They're talking of ending it either this year or next year. I hope they don't. I think they'd be mad. It's our flagship weekend. As I say, it gets us exposure. And it may just bring other people into the sport. And you always need that. If it were me, I wouldn't knock it on the head. But I'd do what they did in the past and take it to different cities. Your Murrayfields, your Cardiffs, anywhere throughout Great Britain, even Ireland. Take it to cities that aren't used to seeing it. You might just get a few new watchers, and that's what we want. In fact, I'd go a step further. What I would do, I would probably release 10 or 15,000 tickets per day to locals, and I'd sell them at half or even a third of the price. You might get locals with their own children. The young boys might like watching it, and as they grow up, they might want to play it. And we might get players in from Ireland, from Wales, from Scotland. That's what I would do. I know you'd get the dodgy Northwest-based people from rugby towns who probably travel down there in cars and pretend they're local to get a cheap ticket, but I'm sure there's ways of getting over that. But that's what I would do. I'd bring more locals in and give them a reduced ticket price. That might fill the grounds completely, which helps anyway and helps the atmosphere, but it brings more people to the game. They're talking to knock it on the head. Don't. And then just a quick bit about my team. I've not gone into the Wire before. Just a couple of thoughts over the weekend. Very disappointing loss. We camped on Hull's try line for most of the first half and couldn't score. Why, I don't know, but we often have trouble with our end decision making. They were great in the second half, much more resilient, but they had nothing to beat. We were very poor. Well done to the Hull boys. Well done to Tony Smith, because I like him very much. But disappointed for us. I was even more disappointed for some of my pals that went down there and had to make the journey back home, and we're getting them at 10, 11 o'clock on Sunday night. I didn't go there, but at the moment, this is all consuming this channel, and I'm loving it, by the way. So I watched it on TV. But my thoughts on the game, I won't go through it all, but I mean, we as a team often flattered to deceive, and we're looking like we're doing it again. At the start of the season, I thought we were going to be brilliant. Thought we had an absolutely great squad, which on paper we did, and it's all going, what did I say, Pete Tong. We had one player that came over here and was still serving a 2-match ban from Australia. I thought it was going to be great for us. After the game, he gets banned for 7 games for saying something really naughty. He has 5 or 6 games back, and he's done the same again over the last week or so, and he's probably going to serve another 7, 8, 9, 10 games. They say, the word is they're going to bullet him from the club. They should do. He's no good to us sat on the sidelines. We had a good forward there that came from Australia. That a few weeks into the season, 4 weeks, 5 games into the season, decided he wanted to go back. They let him. That's the kind of club we are, and I get that. His family were unhappy over it. I get that. But people at Warrington buying players have got to really now make sure that those coming over realise it's a total culture shock. The weather in the main is totally different. The food's different. When they're training in winter time, throughout the winter, it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold in the first few games because we start in spring, but it will get better. We've got to get players that they've got to really know this and buy into the 2 or 3 year contract. We've got to say to them, look, there will be culture changes. You need to know it. You need to buy into it. Are you and your wife 100% happy that you're going to stay for this whole contract? Because if you say you want to go on for the year, we're the kind of club that's going to let you go. We're not going to hold you to contract when you're unhappy, but it creates massive problems for us, as it has with this guy going over back to Australia. I believe he's only playing second grade over there, so he's wasted. He was great for us. We've suffered since he's gone. We had a player punch somebody whilst on the floor, a guy on the floor that couldn't move his head, punched him square in the face. He lost 5 or 6 games for that. And I said, we've got this joker now that's going to lose probably 7, 8, 9 more games. It's crazy. And the one thought I take from the weekend, the big thought, but the thought I've had for 2 or 3 years, I'm screaming it till people are fed up of hearing me say it, is we've got 3 players there at the club, 3 that I believe are in the fastest 6 players in the whole of the competition. In Wrench, who's just come back, in Ashton and in Dufty. They barely get the ball, especially, Wrench who's just come back, Wrench and Ashton. They don't see the ball. We've not got centres capable of giving them the ball in open spaces. Because with open spaces, they will not get caught. Between those 3 players, we should be scoring 6 tries a game. They're that fast. We should be scoring 6 tries a game between just those 3. They don't see the ball, and it amazes me. Daryl Powell, you need to either teach your centres to give quicker ball, better ball to those wingers, or change your centres. Change is probably the best idea. Wardle would have been good enough. It's a shame we lost Wardle. He'd have been able to do it. He'd have worked well with Ashton or with Wrench. But you need better centres. But anyway, well done Hull, well done Tony Smith. Very disappointing Warrington. And as for recruitment, lads, you need to get it right. Come on. You've got a great fan base there. They stick with you through thick and thin. It's been a lot of thin lately. We need to get better. There's half a season to go. Come on the wire.